Now, this morning, MPs are going to receive a dossier that is expected to include bullying allegations against the Post Office Chief Executive, Nick Reid, and claims that he repeatedly lobbied to have his £500,000 salary doubled.
Well, this comes as Jo Hamilton, played by Monica Dolan in Mr Bates versus the Post Office, has finally settled as a former sub-postmistress, but for less than she hoped for. And she says leaving the other victims still to get compensation leaves her with survivor's guilt. Here's her story as we saw it in the drama.
Oh, my God. It's just doubled right in front of my eyes. Now it says I'm £4,000 down.
It'll sort itself out, these things do. In the meantime...
Well, I was only doing what you told me.
In the meantime, you'll need to make good the loss.
I haven't got that money, and I don't know where it's gone.
I mean, that's just some of the shock and despair you felt in the moment. This has been 20 years.
Yeah,
Apple,
that was over 20 years ago. Yeah. That moment was over 20 years ago. And we put my claim together. We started putting it together in 2020, and I got the last bit a couple of months ago, which is just awful. And at the end of it, when we negotiated everything, they eventually took off the money that I'd been given at the group litigation back in 2019.
You are joking.
No. That was the final insult. Not only did I settle 20% less, they deducted the monies I'd got.
Jo, how does it make you feel then?
Sorry, can I just
ask? Yes, sure.
How much was the amount of money that they deducted from the final?
18,500, which to me is like a year's salary.
Of course.
But to them, it's probably a good night on the town, you know. It's life-changing money. But we fought and got it back. They had to give it back to me like a couple of months ago, but that was the final
insult.
Yeah, the final insult was to take the money that I'd been given from the group litigation order.
Well, what I was going to ask you was, how does it make you feel when you hear that the guy who's still running the post office now, the new guy, Nick, he's been in the job for about 10 seconds and he's asking for double his money. He's asking for over £500,000 extra, while you have been battling for 20 years to get less than you deserve, and then you have that sum knocked off as well. How does it make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, so angry I can't explain, but we just have to keep going because it sums up what the post office is, really. I mean, it's got totally out of hand and out of control. I mean, I don't know who they think they are. We are actually the face of the post office. The postmasters are what make the business, not the executives.
Why did you, in the end, having fought for so long, why did you end up saying, oh, all right, I'll take what you're offering, and knowing that it's not what you deserve?
Well, I'm a pensioner now, and my husband's 77 next month, and he had a touch with prostate cancer. And you just think, you know, at the end of the day, we needed to pay off the mortgage and get out of debt because we were both working. He worked 5 days a week till he was 75, physically as a gardener. And I had 10 cleaning jobs trying to keep all the bills paid.
So their tactics of delay.
Yeah.
They've worked, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's saved them a bit of money, hasn't it?
Yeah, and now look, you know, they're not paying the postmasters that were in the original group. It's just wicked. I do not understand. And the money it must have cost to fight me must have been way more than I actually settled for. You know,
the legal costs?
Yeah, the legal costs to their side, because they fought it. Every time you say you want that amount, they negotiate it downwards, and you've got to fight to get it anywhere near, you know, enough.
Originally, how much money do you think you ended up paying the post office or lost as a result of the IT scandal?
Well, I lost about 60 grand in total with the wages and everything they kept, and that part of my claim was assessed with interest because it's gone on over 20 years at £100,000. So actually the money I settled for, 100 grand of it, was my money that they gave me back.
To begin with?
Yeah.
You just gave back what you originally should have paid.
And it was in the wake of not being able to work in that job, which you loved, that you ended up doing the cleaning work.
Yeah.
Presumably didn't bring in as much as you were hoping you would have had if you were running a post office.
And the idea was that I'd still have the business now and I'd probably work on till I was about 70, because it wasn't physically demanding. So, you know, but as I say, with my husband, he was gardening, I'm cleaning, And as you get later in years, you know, physical work is difficult.
We talk about, and I choose my words advisedly here, money-grabbing Nick Reid. This report going in on him today, alleging bullying behaviour as well. We also hear, this has been quite widely leaked now, that there is still a culture at the top of the post office where they still basically suspect you lot.
Yeah.
They still think that you're up to something, they weren't quite all that wrong.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
That must drive you wild.
I know. They don't get it. We're actually the ones that the honest, hard-working people. You know, I think they should have a look in the mirror when they say things like that.
You used a phrase yesterday which was very striking, I think, for people, because you said that in the wake of settling, you now experience survivor's guilt. Of course, you have nothing to feel guilty about, but presumably that's a reflection of the fact that so many others have not received anything like what they should have done, or even anything at all.
Well, exactly. Some of them haven't even had the money that's been stolen from them given back, which is just... I mean, all I know is that when I paid off my mortgage, the relief that I felt, and others should have, you know, have that happen to them, because, you know, we're all 20 years on from where we were, you know, and it's such hard work to keep everything going and keep fighting.
Well, having public support must mean a huge amount to you after all this you've been through. Should we have a quick look at what happened at the Brits?
On Saturday night, alongside Monica Dolan, of course. What was that moment like, knowing that you have... I mean, you have everyone on your side, apart from the post office.
I know. They literally are the only people that aren't on the side of the postmasters.
Yep.
You know, the whole country's got behind us. I can't tell you what, my house, I get cards, flowers.
I bet you do.
You know, it's just crazy. And the country are behind us. I get people stop me in the street and they say, keep going, keep going. You know,
Well,
don't they get
that,
it?
Joe, we're almost out of time here, but one last question. Apart from the campaigning, which I know you'll continue to do for the others, which will assuage your survivor's guilt, which Susanna's right, we shouldn't be feeling, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? What's the plan?
I'm still working because with my compensation, I bought a horse. So I have to keep working for my indulgence because my old age pension won't pay for my horse.
What's the horse called?
Delilah.
Delilah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You deserve to have fun with Delilah. You know, you deserve to be resting, frankly, retiring and just happily riding Delilah. But I'm sorry you've had to go through so much and that you feel any sense of guilt at all after more than two decades of what the post office has put you through. But, you know, as the Brits showed, everybody's on your side, Joe.
So they better pay the postmasters.
They better had.
Soon.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you. Good to see you this morning.